great honor and pleasure to welcome everyone here. And we have a nice program, and it's supposed to be short. Allie, come here please for a minute. Nothing like this gets done without a lot of hard work and a lot of planning. And the lady who did it all, who has put this whole event together, is Mrs. Allison Gabler. So everything that goes right, you can give credit to Allie. Everything that goes wrong, you can blame me. That's our deal. The other thing I would like to just acknowledge right up in the beginning is that we're very, very pleased and honored to have our architects, Kobe and Monica Moses, here. And our general contractors, Ed Brush and Bob Brush. Where are you guys? There they are, right there. And I think Rodney Freeman and Steve Wallach from the Freeman Group, who are our representatives and really got it all done. And without these 6 people, I don't know how it would have happened. And one other person, of course, and that's Mr. Ed Praver, who week in and week out just kept coming and making sure that everybody was doing their job. And this is the second time Ed did it. Ed did it originally with the 8831 Venice, with the building next door. Warren roped him in then. And Ed, I can't thank you enough for everything you've done to make this whole place look the way it does. We thought a lot about who should be the person that helps us dedicate. We could have had politicos, we could have had a lot of different people. Or at least we think we could have. And Harriet and I spoke about it, and it was Harriet's idea. She said the only person that really should help us dedicate this building is somebody who understands Yiddishkeit, someone who understands has a deep, deep love of Jewish people, and someone who can also relate to brokenness and broken people. So we called Carolyn Ben Natan and David Siegel, the Consul General of the for the State of Israel here in Los Angeles, and as soon as we asked, both of them said, Hineni, here I am. So with no further ado, the Consul General for the State of Israel in Los Angeles, David Siegel.
Hello, good afternoon. This is amazing. I saw this space when it was very initial. I was given a little tour of the construction site, and looking at it now is an incredible experience. So thank you for including us, the consulate, and thank all of you for being here and supporting this wonderful institution, B'tshuva. Harriet and Rabbi Mark, your personal inspirations to me, but not just to me, to everyone in this room. So whatever you said about me, just put that aside. This is about a relationship. It's about our love for this institution and our commitment to being with you as often as we're invited. There are many friends in this room, many supporters. Joyce, of course, I want to thank you for your leadership and this absolutely magnificent work of art that we're all in right now. I thought of what would be an appropriate message for all of us, and I went to the Torah reading of this past weekend. If you'll excuse the aberration, we're supposed to be talking about next week, but last week is so much more relevant, and it's still this weekend, so it's this week, unless we're in Israel, which is next week already, but we're here. So
It makes you, but it all works.
thank you. So this Sabbath, we read a Torah portion, which is the seminal story of struggle. And what better story to share with you but the story of Jacob, struggling with that, we say an angel, but it's in the original scripture, it says a man. And it doesn't say who it is, and that's left open to interpretation. Some say it was God, some say it was Jacob wrestling with himself, and it was quite a struggle because it went on from nightfall until dawn. A very, very significant struggle. In our tradition, it's known as the most significant crisis in Jacob's life. One of our forefathers. And in this struggle, Jacob knew that he had a crisis ahead. He was going to have a reunion with his brother Esau, and it's something about a birthright and a little bit of deceit and 22 years of cutoff, and then a reunion. And Esau was coming at Jacob with 400 men, and he didn't know if that was a fighting force or a greeting force, so it was a period of crisis. But there was Jacob struggling with himself all night, and he emerged in the morning with a new name, and that name was Israel. We don't call ourselves the state of Jacob. We don't call ourselves the people of Jacob. We call ourselves the people of Israel, because Israel denotes the maturation of Jacob from this struggle, and quite a struggle it was. Rabbi Sachs, who is a wonderful teacher, wrote about this struggle, that there were 3 things to learn from it. One is that freedom means that we have to live a life of courage and deal with the unknowable, and that there's no real freedom without faith, because you really have to believe in order to be free, and that the real struggle that we have is with ourselves. And before we deal with the struggles out there, we have to deal with the struggles within ourselves. But the most significant line that Rabbi Sachs derived from the struggle was what Jacob said as he was fighting the angel, or the man, and he said, "I will not let you go until you bless me." And from that we learn, of course, that every struggle, as you emerge from it, has the potential or the promise of forgiveness, of growth, and this is what it's all about. This is what Bet Tshuva is all about. This is what Israel's all about. We're not perfect beings. Our biblical heroes were far from perfect. The deceit went down to generations. Jacob was involved. His sons were involved. If you know the story, it's a fascinating story of errors, deceit, sins, but also learning from that, growing from that, and becoming stronger as a result of that. And Jacob's story in particular is a story of growth and rebirth. And I thought it would be a very, very important thing to share with you today. Judaism isn't linear. We've been in this business for 4,000 years. 4,000 years that have not always been easy. In fact, some people say we never had a quiet day, but that doesn't mean that we don't enjoy life as well. And this is what it's all about. So we're here to support you, and we know that you're here to support us. Israel has a lot to learn from this institution. We're in an era that governments are ceding more and more power to and responsibility to civil society. We see that happening in Israel. We see that happening here. We see it happening around the world. And we have a lot of partnering and teaching and learning to do with each other. And this is why we're here today. So thank you, Mazal Tov to Bet Tshuva, and we'll continue this in the years to come. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Council General. So, Rabbeinu Shalom, Master of the Universe, we ask you to bestow blessings upon the people gathered here. The blessings that we ask you to bestow are the blessings really that they give to everyone else, and that all of you have given to Beit Tshuva. You bless us with your spirit, you bless us with your support, you bless us with your kindness, and you bless us with your energy. And most of all, you bless us with the light of your souls. Rabbeinu Shalom, what we have here is, as Council General Siegel said, we have a group of people that wrestle with each other and wrestle with themselves. And you have a group of people here, gathered here, that believe and live a life of tshuva. And more importantly, they believe and live a life that's dedicated to the tshuva, to the wrestling, to the return of all people. Kodosh Baruch Hu, please bestow upon this group of people and this institution the strength, the light, the wisdom, the courage to continue to wrestle, to continue to grow, to continue to move forward, and to continue to always remember from where we've come. Rabbeinu Shalom, we're grateful. Harriet and myself and the entire staff of Beit Shuvah, past and present, are grateful. We're grateful to everyone gathered here because you have been the pillars, you have been the leaders, you have been the supporters, and you've been the cheerleaders for everything that we have accomplished and everything that has happened over these past 28 plus years. So to all of you, on behalf of myself, Harriet, the staff and the residents of Beit Shuvah, past and present, we thank you for our lives. We thank you for the lives that you've saved. The tradition says, if you save one life, it's as if you saved an entire world. And all of you gathered here have saved thousands upon thousands of worlds. And for that, we're so very, very grateful.
This is a day of celebration for me, for us. It is a Hanukkah Habayit, a dedication of the house. I wanted to use the Hanukkah theme. I was afraid you were going to use it. Because Hanukkah is celebration of miracles. And I think the fact that we are all here today, together, in this place, is a miracle. It's a miracle that all of you have been willing to sustain the mission, that broken people can be healed, that outcasts can be redeemed, that there is no one for whom teshuvah is not possible, and that such people deserve a space that reflects the holiness of their souls. For a long time, we believed that what we were doing was holy work, but we were doing it in places that did not reflect that. And another part of our mission has been the belief that people who were once the problem can become the solution. 80% of the people who are employed here once lived here as residents. That's something I'm really proud of. And your support and the fact that this place now occupies almost a whole city block is a statement that Beit Shuvah and what it does is an essential and permanent part of the Jewish community of Los Angeles. The short story is, it was almost 30 years ago. You saw that dump, Barrio adjacent. We're now Beverly Hills adjacent, almost. There were 3 people when it opened. They came from jail. They stole my jewelry the first night. I lived there. I was the only staff. We had a budget of $50,000. Today, we have 175 residents. We have 93 employees and a $9 million budget. I'm not sure exactly how that happened. The one thing I do know is that because of the generosity of all of you and the fact that you bought into this crazy idea, really, that number one, there were Jewish addicts, because in the beginning there was a lot of denial that this was a problem and that deserved to be helped. So we have been able to maintain mission over money for all of these years and to never turn anyone away because they couldn't pay. And that really is a miracle if you look at the landscape of the recovery business in this town. The fact that we have been able to keep mission in the forefront It really is a miracle. Our mission stays the same, but the addictions have changed. The breadth and depth of what we offer has changed. The prisoners today are prisoners of privilege, I must say. Young people that we see who have an inability to launch their lives, and part of the future of the Institute, as Dr. O'Connor talked about, was to help families understand that raising children with privilege and without responsibility is actually traumatic for them. And part of our new institute is going to be the trauma of privilege. So we have come from prisoners to prisoners for different reasons, and that is where we are going. I can talk about what we do, but I think it's always meaningful to people to hear it from someone who has been here and come back as something else. And so I'm going to ask Michael Warner to come and talk for 3 minutes.
Where's Al?
Just about his trajectory. Michael, I don't know if you were going to tell them, but when Michael was here as a resident, how many years ago? 5. And used to try to tell me about the things we were doing that needed fixing, I called him a little pisher. So Michael Warner, the big pisher.
So the reason why they're limiting me to 3 minutes is when I took my first cake, that was years ago. I think I set the record of 18 to 22 minutes, and nobody wants that to happen again. I am a very good example of what Beit Tshuva is all about. I'm a person who comes from thank God, a good family, and I've had, I think, a very good life. Not a perfect life, not a perfect family, but for a lot of different reasons, even though my life was in a very great trajectory, in terms of my personal life, I was married, I have 2 kids, thank God. My career every year went up and up and up, increased responsibilities, money, and all of that really never mattered for the simple reason is I wasn't happy. And not only wasn't I happy, I was getting angrier and angrier because I wasn't happy. And that led me into a very destructive cycle about 5 years ago, starting 6 years ago, which then led me, in my estimation, unbelievably, to Beit Tshuva. And in my mind at the time, I was like, what am I doing in Beit Tshuva? I mean, and I think the first thing that I said when I first came in, I was in a group with Adam and Dell, and I said, listen, you people, you have problems, but they're nothing like mine. And it was exactly the opposite. Everybody has the same problems. I just didn't realize it. So what Beit Tshuva did, what you did for me by supporting Beit Tshuva was very simple. First, you gave me safe haven. Then you gave me the ability to stabilize. Really think about what happened. How did it happen? How did someone who did so well with this end up so far on the ground? And I was on the ground. In every way a person could be on the ground, I was on the ground. And I was this close to death. In fact, it's a miracle, we're talking about miracles, that in some ways I'm even standing here. But I stabilized. I was able to figure out what happened, why it happened, and that's the greatness of Beit Tshuva. And I was angry. Wasn't I angry at him? I was an angry guy. But they struggled with me, they wrestled with me, they gave me a chance to figure it out. And then I was able to turn my life around. And I left, I went back to my career, and I did things in my career. I got other opportunities. I did them ever better than anything I had done before. And what I had done before was pretty substantial. And then I ended up back here as the chief operating officer. And that's really the way I think that this should work. That a person that's in deep trouble gets an opportunity to fix their problem, and then give back. And I'll never be able to thank you. I'll never really be able to thank the rabbi, or Harriet, or Adam, or Shai, or Brandon, or all the people that helped me, Craig Miller. What I'm trying to do at this point now is to take my expertise and give back what you gave to me. Thank you.
The next part is how we got from Lake Street to Venice Boulevard. And as we asked Warren Breslow to come up, we have to just really acknowledge and thank. It started with Gateways Hospital, and even a lot of people at Gateways Hospital weren't thrilled with that program, JCPS and Beit Shuva. And the champion of Beit Shuva at Gateways, and the person who started the first Friends of Beit Shuva, is Mr. David Ruderman, and he's been with us for the whole time that we've been in existence. And thank you very much.
And then we found Elaine Breslow of blessed memory, Mark did, and she came to help us. And she brought Warren Breslow, her husband. And for me, Warren was the first person who was like a grown-up, a real person, you know, a business person, a person who understood stuff I didn't understand, who took us seriously. And he wasn't thrilled with us being down there in the barrio. So he said, I'm gonna get you folks out of here. And so he did, and the rest of that story is yours.
Thank you. So it's been quite a run. About that time that I became active, and I made a commitment to Rabbi and Harriet and my wife that you can't come to this area where it's just not safe. You know, when I say not safe, there was a time that we found a dead body on the front lawn. That's kind of not safe. And so miracles happened. Annette Shapiro showed up, and that sort of gave me the push to do something about it. I went to my partners, Jonah Godrich and Saul Kest, and I said, we want to buy a building and we need a lead gift. And they said, sure, we're here. And it was amazing, and that's why our names are on the building that we bought next door. The building that we bought next door was in such bad shape that I did not allow my wife or Mark or Harriet to see it until after escrow closed, because I knew they would kill the deal. It housed people who were mentally ill, but not sick enough to be locked up. And so these are kinds of people who would open the windows and throw the furniture out. Or they would stand at 2 o'clock in the morning outside in the street, stark naked, and preach gospel. One time, one of my favorite stories, I was walking through the buildings and I overhear a conversation, and it went something like this. It said, we got him. We finally got him. We got the goods on him. Truman is finished. So you understand why I didn't want to bring Mark or Harriet or Elaine through that building. And the amazing thing is that truly so that for reasons that I can't explain, folks like you, all of you, the Jewish community stood up and said, there's a problem in our community, and Beit Shuva is the answer, and they supported us. And we raised that $5 million. We raised the $5 million necessary to buy the building and to start the rehab. And everybody got involved some way. People who couldn't work, who didn't have money, gave us their labor. They would come and they would work to knock stuff down or build stuff up. It was incredible. And I was so lucky that Ed showed up and Ed took charge of that building as he took charge of this building. and things happen, and it's amazing that we could be from where we came. You saw the picture of what Lake Street was. Lake Street, we had 25 guys living in there, head to head, toe to toe. One bath, there were 2 bathrooms, only one worked, and it leaked. And that was, you know, and to come from there to here is amazing. I always have to remind myself, as I remind all of you, no matter how beautiful these surroundings are, it's the work here that counts, and I'm just so proud to be part of what made all this happen. So, thank you all.
So Warren was the chairman of Beit Tshuva for, I think, 12 or 14 years. It was a long time. And the funny thing was, he always told people that this is a true nonprofit. They couldn't make ends meet on their own if their life depended on it. Right, Warren? Isn't that what every week you would tell us this? So then we've been blessed. We've been blessed with great leaders. We've been blessed with Warren, with Annette Shapiro, with Nancy Mishkin, and our new chairman is Dr. Bill Resnick. And these 4 people have really been leaders of this movement, of not just of the board, but really of Beit Tshuva, and of what we do and who we are. And I just want to say thank you to all 4 of you. So the next part of the story is how we went from 8831 to here, and for that, I'm going to ask Annette Shapiro.
I don't know what to say. Standing here is the most incredible feeling for all of us that have been around for a long time. 17 years ago, I walked the campus of Beit Teshuvah, where you saw that building. And we've started seeing the changes and seeing it grow. And here we are now. And I want to take you on a little journey of 3 years ago. I was at a luncheon, and sitting at the table was Joyce Brandman. And I was talking to some of the women there about Beit Teshuvah. And Joyce said, I would like to go see Beit Teshuvah. She's never been here. I said, well, I'd love to take you. I'd love to take you. And so we arranged to have lunch here and meet. So she had never walked in the door before, knew nothing about Beit Teshuvah other than information that I had sent you in the mail. And we went into Mark's office, and it was myself, it was our development director, Mark and Harriet, and Allie. Where are you, Allie? Raise your hand. And Allie, who has been a resident, and now I can't live without her here. And we're all sitting there, and we're telling our story of why, our experience with Beit Teshuvah. And then Harriet and Joyce listens and listens and listens, and she says, how are you going to grow? What's your ideas of growth? And I said to myself, well, we were given this building, this building was for sale. If it went to somebody else, it would be cut our program, we would really not be able to accomplish what we want to accomplish, but we can't, I'm thinking this and we can't afford it. Should I go for it? So I said, okay, Nat, go for it. So I said, Joyce, you're asking us how we can grow. And I will tell you that the building is available to us next door, but we can't afford it. She says, how much is it? I says, it's $3 million. She says, you know, she says, I think it's wonderful what people give to Beit Teshuvah or to any charity. They give what they can afford to give. But I think, I know what I want to do here. And I want to give you $3 million. Well, so here we are, because of you, here we are in this magnificent, magnificent building, synagogue, multipurpose building. And Joyce, you are truly a lady. We've become friends, for a lifetime friends, and what you have done, you have touched so many lives here and changing so many lives here that it's really unbelievable. And I just can't even explain to you what it means to all of us for your generosity, because we would not be here today. And I don't know how all of you feel, but I think the structure is beautiful. The architect, where are you, is designed as a magnificent building. And so, the shock of the $3 million we are standing here and enjoying. And that $3 million kicked off the campaign for us to raise, including the $3 million, $10 million. And that gave us the money to remodel the other building, to build this. And when the program is over, I urge you to go through the building and to please notice the art, that you all received a brochure. And the art in the entrance that's on the steps, it says there that I think that it gives a very, very important message, and the art was designed, created by Lori Gross. The first one, the fragments of a broken life represents what we repair at Bet Teshuvah. The next, the fragments made whole again, whole represents the Torah we teach at Bet Teshuvah. The mezuzah over here reminds us that you are in a sacred place. The Ner Tamid above us symbolizes the eternal light that Bet Teshuvah brings to the community. And if you sit here, as we are sitting here, and look at this whole surroundings, how it all goes together. And then you go into our clinical building, and there is a new piece in our clinical building above the leather couch that a gal, let me just, what's her name? Susan Trackman. She designed it and did it and made it. It is incredible. It is a picture, a wood sculpture, all found old wood, all about Bet Teshuvah and what we do. And when you see it, in the center, it spells out, hold on. And for those of you that come to our services on Friday night, we welcome new residents in, and the whole audience yells, hold on. So that's really the important thing, that we want our residents to hold on, and most of them are holding on. And thank you all so very, very much.
Everything I'm going to talk about today basically has to come from my heart. Standing here today gives me cold chills. My late husband once said to someone we had done something very special for, they said, what can we do and how do we pay you back? And his answer was, you can do nothing for me. Pass it on to the next person. And that's what this is about. We had a wonderful, wonderful life, and so we're passing it on to the next person. And here at Beit Tshuva, we know all the good things that go on and what they do. You've heard Harriet speak, Rabbi speak, my dear friend Annette, whom I just adore. I mean, I could go on with the list of names as I look around this room. Some of you know me a long, long time, before they were married or I was married. People from Aspen. I also have made wonderful friends through this community today. My life is so full, I cannot find the time to do everything I want to do. My family's here today to support me, and they are always there. I have them in the first, second, and somewhere else, which I thank all of you for coming today. Someone asked me some questions. Wanted to know what attracted my husband and myself to Beit Tshuva. It started years ago, and I knew Annette was very involved, and then Dr. Joe Sugarman was honored here, and we never had done anything major. We gave small amounts of money, and when I started to think, and my husband did too, what goes on here, it affects all of us, and if you think it doesn't, you're living in a different world than I live in. We've all survived it. We have family, friends, kids, whatever, and that was what started to attract me after he had passed on to Beit Tshuva. I could give something and no one had to give anything back to me. And that's exactly what he would have wanted. The next thing they asked me was, why would my husband Saul like it here? He was a very simple man, very bright. You never knew what he had or he didn't have. I can remember when I first met him. My brother was overseas, and my brother had left a Volkswagen at home. I needed a car, so I drove the Volkswagen. My husband said to me, "You don't have to drive that. Here, I'll drive it." And he had a lot of other cars, and he gave me a wonderful Mercedes to drive, and he drove the Volkswagen. And that, I think, would describe the kind of person and individual he was. He had to put on no airs, no shows for anybody, because it didn't matter to him. He was very secure. So this home, as I call it, is a secure place. And I know he would have liked that, and this would attract him very, very much. The next thing they said to me, why do I feel Beit Tshuva is important in this world? Well, I've touched on a couple of things already, and I'm not going to backtrack about how it affects all of us. I only hope that this is the role model, what Harriet and Rabbi and so many of you, please forgive me for not mentioning your names, what you have done here. And I know that all of that would be very important. I'm a little flustered right now. I have to be honest with you, I'm overwhelmed. Jake, be quiet. Okay. I want to say thank you. I have made wonderful new friends that are sitting in this audience, and all of you have opened me with warm, welcome arms, and it's nice this late in my life to make new friends. You don't always have that happen. When my husband, before he passed away, he said, "Your life will be different. It'll be great. But you're going to have a wonderful life because of the foundation and what it is you're going to be able to do with that money." And that's all we do. We do not fundraise at all. We just give away money. So when Annette brought me here, it was easy for me to say, you need $3 million. My husband earned it. That's what it's for. Let's give it away. Today we have a new problem here. We need a parking lot. better watch out. Somebody in this audience gave me some ideas today, and I'm certainly going to take care of the parking lot for Big Shuba as well. Someone asked me also, how do I feel when I'm here? Well, when I walk through the front door at the building next door, because that's usually the way most of us come in, it's like home. Everyone, hello, how are you? You see faces, you get to know people, you recognize them. Doesn't matter if you remember their name, but it's the hello. And it's for the residents here that they all say, hi, how are you? And stop and talk for a minute. I recently had a cousin of my husband's go through this program. And I can only tell you how fabulous she's doing. She left here with a purpose as to what she was going to do with her life, how she was going to get a job, and I knock on wood somewhere, hope she doesn't have to come back. I have had other friends very close to me that have had family here, and I know that they're all doing very, very well. One other question, where do I see this going? Well, we all know, Warren, from Lake Street, you picked him up, you brought him out. Well, from here, I hope that we're able to expand, go more well, we can't go that way, it's Helms, all right, but we're gonna try to maybe go this way. I hope maybe even other locations, okay? It'll take time. Maybe we're not there yet, but in time, I hope other organizations will come and see what Harriet and Rabbi have done here, because that is what is important. I thank you all so very, very much. Annette, there's so many things I could say about you, how wonderful you are, how incredible you are, how giving you are. You are definitely my role model. We've known each other a long time, but through this, we have become very, very close, and I'm so very, very proud to say you're my friend, and I thank you all.
So we have a presentation for you, Joyce. Avi's going to talk about it in a minute, and where we're going is we're expanding the institute, the Elaine Breslow Institute. We want to make this about families, about professionals, as Dr. O'Connor said in the film, and as Adam Mandel talked about. We've already started it, and our commitment to you and to all of you is to keep pushing the ball forward, keep expanding and sending this message of hope, of recovery, of love, and of blessings to everybody. And now we've given all of you mezuzot. Avi's going to explain how it came about, and we have one special one to present to you.
A very special one. So a few months ago, Harriet called me and she said, hey Avi, I have this idea. How about if we design and 3D print a mezuzah as our way of saying thank you to every person that helped us make the journey to this beautiful new facility. And I said, that's a great idea. Let me call my friend the rabbi and see if we can actually figure it out. And I called Rabbi Mark, and he said to me, well, how do you experience Judaism? And I said to him, it's easy for me. I experienced Judaism through music. When I first walked into this beautiful place 10 years ago, I broke down and I cried because the music penetrated me in a way that no prayer could. So Rabbi Mark sent me a recording of our Kedusha. and I went to work with some of my artistic collaborators, and we took the Kedusha and tried to weave it into our interpretation of what Beit Tshuva is. Now, we heard today that Judaism is not linear, and Harriet said that Beit Tshuva grew organically. My interpretation of Beit Tshuva is that it's exponential. And it's exponential in its growth, and it's exponential in its gifts to all of us. We're all blessed exponentially with abundance of spirituality and purpose when we come here. So we took the notion of deep roots, and we took the notion of how Beit Tshuva envelopes us as a community. And we developed with a very gifted artist by the name of Joshua St. John, who's my collaborator, this amazing creation. This is a one-of-a-kind silver and gold mezuzah. It's a museum piece that we developed for you, and I'm grateful that I have the opportunity to pay for it and give you my love of this place in the embodiment of this mezuzah.
It's quite, I mean, you just have to see it. It's gorgeous, and it does belong in a museum. I will cherish it and remember why it's in my home every day of my life.